Well, let's get you on edge here. Let's talk about, a stinker of a match. It's Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. It's been promoted as being one of the marquee matches at WrestleMania. Of course, Goldberg was leaving after WrestleMania, and it's been rumored for years that Brock was originally supposed to win the match, but ultimately the rumor and innuendo is that Vince wound up being more pissed off at Brock than Goldberg, so he switched it. But here's why he's pissed off at Brock. Apparently, things get very complicated on March 9th. Brock shows up to the building for SmackDown and informs the company that he's leaving. Tell me about that day. I'm sure if you weren't at the building, you were at least managing fires from Stamford. What can you tell us about it?
Well, he's burned out. He's burned out. He's getting bad advice from some of his peers, I believe. And he had this dream of playing in the National Football League. And apparently he'd had that dream for many, many years, but he's been so focused and so grounded in the wrestling world, amateur wrestling world, that he never got to really do that. He played high school football. I don't think he even played junior college football. And he went to junior college and won NCAA junior college national wrestling champion. I just think it was he didn't travel well at that time. You know, he got from a dairy farm in South Dakota, and now he's traveling the world regularly all the time. And I think it wore on him. And I just think, that would have been something that, we could have probably made better for him. I look myself in the mirror on that deal. Sometimes you ride them hard and you put them up wet. And that's kind of what we did with Brock there. But he got burned out and he had a chance from his buddies with the Vikings that, hey, look, if you want to get in the NFL, we can help you get a tryout. And luckily, for him, and which really fed the monster, he did really well in that camp. I think he was the last guy cut before the 53-man roster, without playing any significant, without playing college football at all. So he became a positive story for the Vikings, the local wrestling star, University of Minnesota, blah, blah, blah. It sounded like old school wrestling booking. And so I just think he was burned out, Conrad. He didn't fully understand the travel. When we had him in OVW, he didn't travel except by the ring. He drove the ring truck. He was a ring crew foreman. But that was all local stuff. You drive and you're back home that night. And that was not the case in his career. And knowing the trajectory of where he was headed, it wasn't going to lessen. He was going to be on the road more. Any international tour was going to include Brock Lesnar. And any major events in the States was going to include Brock Lesnar. So I think he forecast all that a little bit, and it kind of got overwhelming for him. But it was very abrupt. We were not ready for that announcement that I'm leaving, because it was obvious. What we knew when we signed Brock, that he was special. We didn't know how special, but we found out very quickly. So it was a little bit of a shocker, and hard to digest and hard to process, because Vince felt like he was doing, we were treating Brock well, and he was making a lot of money. And I remember, I think the payoff, if I'm not mistaken, that we did for that show, is that I think he made $250,000. And so did Goldberg. I remember sitting in my office in Stanford, and Vince's assistant said, Brock Lesnar's on the line. He wanted to talk to Vince, and Vince wants him to talk to you. So that was my prep for that conversation. And like, here he is. So there he goes. And so I get on the phone with him, and he's in a foul mood because he got his payoff, thought he got screwed. I said, what are you basing this on? Did you do a forensic study of the finances of this event? Or did somebody tell you, one of your buddies tell you got screwed in your payoff? What are you basing this on? You have to give me something here. You didn't like it? And he said, I just think you guys screwed me. I said, well, we didn't screw you. And I'm sorry you feel that way. And he hung up on me. And, he's a very unique guy. And I didn't even have a problem with him hanging up on me. He heard his answer. You're not getting any more money. We think we paid you fairly. So, but it was not the phone call that I would have, I was, thank God that he was on the phone and not staring me down the gullet He's a little intimidating. So that's how that worked out. We were really shocked that it come to that. And as the head of talent relations, I learned lessons on that deal. You got to pay more attention to guys that you sense are uncomfortable in your locker room and on your team for whatever reason it may be. And I should have been paying more attention and I'll take the hit on this deal. But, I just didn't. Brock was very impressionable. And he sometimes, like the old deal where you believe the last guy you heard, and the boys love to stir up the boys.
Well, who's in Brock's ear? Who's giving him this bad advice? I asked because he dropped Barry Bloom as his agent after he got him that initial WWE contract. In hindsight, Barry probably could have helped here. I mean, I don't know, maybe. But who's giving him this bad advice, do you think?
Well, I would say the Minnesota contingent, maybe Perfect, maybe Kurt. And Kurt would do it just to be ornery.
Right.
Because he knew that he can get you.
Yeah.
And to see somebody get rolled up in anxiety and angst, thanks to your prodding and your subtle positioning, was a rib. And some guys fell for it. Hey, I've had guys come to me and say, again on WrestleMania, comes in, they say, I'm not happy with my payoff. Same story. Based on what? Tell me what you're basing your unhappiness over. And he said, well, so-and-so made blank. I said, no, they didn't. Well, they said they did. Well, they said that to you, right? Yeah. I said, so Jerry Briscoe was with me on a lot of these meetings, very invaluable. And I said, Jerry, go get so-and-so, that guy that got the big money that Dustin didn't get, because it's about gold dust. So I got the guy in the room and, did you tell him that you made blank? He started laughing. Yeah, I did. Why? Why did you lie to him? I don't get it. And, well, it's funny, just a rib. Well, Goldust didn't think it was a rib. Right. He ain't laughing, as you notice right now.
Right.
So look at the shit you stirred for no reason except for your own personal enjoyment. And that's the wrestling community oftentimes. If the boys see a weakness and they see some little crack in the armor, because it was obvious that Lesnar had no cracks in the armor visibly, but emotionally and mature wise, he was in a world that he had not prepared for ever in his life. More money, more travel, more fame, more fortune. So, and he was having, not, I don't say family issues, but, he was trying to raise his daughter and the marital or ex-marital issues type things. He was dating Sable, which was a great thing for him. And it's been a wonderful marriage and they got great looking sons. But at that time, it was just more drama on his plate. And so people process this information differently, Conrad. And that's kind of where we came to with that thing. So, but the talents have a way. They knew where Brock's sensitivities were. I think a lot of guys took advantage of his naivete and saying, man, brother, you got screwed.
We'll touch on all of the drama around Brock another time, but